Good afternoon and welcome to Hypothesis Cafe. This is a meeting of the minds about the art, business, and science of life. And I'll be coming to you talking about a load and a myriad of many topics, so stay tuned. I'm excited because this is my very first entry on YouTube, so I'm glad you were able to watch it and see it. And like I said, this is a meeting of the mind, so once I bring my mind to the topic, I hope that you would be engaged enough to want to interact with me, and we can meet minds and talk about the topics that I have put out here. The first topic that I want to talk about with you today is wearable art. You see me? You see? Wearable art. Now, what is that? If I had to put it into my own words, now I'm not giving a definition, I'm giving my perspective. My perspective on it is, you see wearable art when you see somebody using their body as a canvas, so to speak, upon which they place different colors, textures, patterns, designs. It's different from styling with somebody else's clothes. The reason why it's considered art is because there are some things that are made from scratch. So you can take different metals, you can take different fabrics and all sorts of different things and make your pieces from scratch. Whether you're sewing with a machine, you're sewing by hand, or you're just repurposing. Now, I know that a lot of people in the art world don't consider wearable art to be art. Art tends to be confined to brush strokes on a canvas or molding clay or something like that. For me, I disagree. I think anytime you can put your mind, heart, and hands to something and fashion or refashion something, it's art. Some people want to relegate wearable arts and art pieces to arts and crafts, but to me it's art. I don't care if you're taking something that's already made and upcycling it, or if you're taking some bits and pieces and making a whole new piece from it. I tend to take an Adam's rib approach to art, and that's probably why I disagree with folks who see paintings and sculptures and photography as the only pieces of art that can be considered art. The Adam's rib approach for me is that, like Adam, he lays down, he goes to sleep, take a rib out and fashion a whole new being out of it. That's how I see wearable art, that you can take ready-made pieces, strip it, take different pieces off and create a collage. You can, and for me, because it's wearable, you're going to live your life in it. That to me is wearable art. It's an artistic piece made by hand in part or as a whole, made completely from scratch. And you can put it on your body and wear it. It's like you're a walking piece of art. You're a walking canvas. You are a moving picture through life. To me, there's just nothing cooler. I'll give you some examples. About a year ago this time, I was in New Orleans. I was down at the French Market, and I ran into this really cool, sweet, lovely man named Oscar. And he was down there in the French Market in his kiosk, not quite Bourbon Street, but Bourbon Street adjacent. And he was there making these. He's a jewelry maker. He makes the brooches and pins. He makes, I think, charms for necklaces. But what really stuck out to me was these earrings, that he just took bits and pieces and just added color and his own design to it and made it from scratch and put the backs on it himself. Now to me, this is wearable art. I'll take it off so you can see it more closely. This to me is wearable art. And he autographed it, and put the dates on. So it's New Orleans. You see it's brushed off a little bit. New Orleans, and it's 2016. I went down there for Christmas. So much fun. And you see how he just fashioned these pieces, and they're gorgeous pieces. I got another one here. This one is not quite 3D, but sort of 2D, because he has pieces that actually lift up off the flat piece. You see, it's not totally flat. But he has this piece here. I bought 3. They were all so gorgeous. I wanted to take them all home with me, but I knew I couldn't. So I scraped my pennies together and got the 3 that best fit my wardrobe at the time. So this is 2 of the 3 I'm showing you. That's great. Now to me, this is wearable art. Again, your body is the canvas. You put your mind, heart, and hands to fashioning or refashioning a piece that you will sport, you will display, you will wear, or you will give as a gift for someone else to wear. That's what I like. Now, derivative arts. Wearable art has been seen as either not art, or it's been seen as arts and crafts, or it's been seen as derivative arts, arts that is derived from something. Because for some reason, unless the materials are all made from scratch, then you don't want to call it art. If you make the beads yourself, if you make this yourself, if you're producing all or most of the materials yourself, then it comes closer to the rubric of art. Okay, it's art if it's this. And so derivative arts are arts like when they have recycled cans and things that go on campus and they become a part of the art piece, but you knew that they were a whole something else before. Then that's considered derivative arts. You're not making it from scratch. You're deriving and appropriating and stripping whole or bit pieces from other whole entities. They were whole once upon a time, but now you're stripping them, breaking down pieces, like breaking a piece of glass and then taking the bits of glass and using it in your canvas or in your sculpture or whatever. Somehow or another, that's seen as derivative arts because the pieces, the materials that you use were once whole and used for a completely different purpose. So it's upcycling, derivative arts, and what's the other word I'm thinking of? And repurposed, which brings me to my point. Wearable art does trend that way, where you can take old bags, old shoes. I have a book here to show you. Old shoes, even new shoes that just are too plain. They're so plain, they're ugly. And you can take those pieces and add paper mache. You can take quotes from a book. You can take chapters. You can take artwork and apply them to that whole piece. And that's considered, if I'm understanding it correctly, derivative arts. So I'll tell you a quick story. I was at a store called Gabriel Brothers. And Gabriel Brothers is good for deals and sales. It's not knockoff pieces, but it's more factory seconds. So you're liable to find a pair of jeans there for like $5-6, maybe as much as $10, $14, $15. But there'll be some sort of defect, like the zipper's missing, or they put the innie and outie of the button on the wrong pants leg, or one pants leg is shorter. It could be anything, or there are just buttons missing, or the collar's ripped, or whatever. But it's factory seconds and stuff that can't be sold as new. And it's not stuff that's designed to spec, so they toss it out and it ends up in places like Gabriel Brothers, right? So I'm there and I found a pair of jeans, size 14, stretch, 99 cents. I just wanted to give you a minute to think about that. 99 cents. And that to me is like, that's not even a deal. That's a steal. Even if I wasn't even a size 14 at the time. I said, for 99 cents, I'm going to make this bad boy work. I don't care what I have to do. You see, I'll take fabric and do something with it. Hello. I don't care. 99 cents. They're coming home with me, right? So, of course, I fell in love with the price and never bothered to look for the defect. Well, what I found out, the defect in this particular pair of jeans was that the crotch was towed up. And I'm like, was somebody else wearing these? Like, what happened? But the crotch was so, just completely mushed up that I couldn't sew it together to make it look like new. I couldn't patch it up to make it look like new. It just looked like a raggedy pair. But again, blinded by the price, and I don't regret it, I said, I have to repurpose these and refashion these into something. Now, an old trend, when you have jeans that are either too tight or won't let you sit down, you can't sit down in them because they're so tight and they cut off your circulation, is that you're supposed to cut them up the inseam of the leg. So you have this sort of A-line structure, almost Christmas tree looking, and you add fabric in the opening at the back and the opening at the front, and you make yourself an A-line skirt. Well, the new hashtag is, that's old news, that's chewed meat, don't do it unless you want to look like something old. You just want to look like you're out of style. So I said, well, I'm not going to do that again with a pair of jeans. So what I decided to do was, instead of cutting diagonally or vertically, I cut it horizontally. And if I stand up, you might be able to see it. I made a denim bustier. So I cut out, let me see, I'll do a little scroll down here so you can see. I just cut up to the crotch where it was all ripped up. You see, it was all ripped up here. I cut up the crotch and everything, and I just stepped into it, but when I pulled it up, I didn't stop at the waist. I just pulled it all the way up over my bosom so you can see it. Now, the only reason why I'm showing you this and I'm dressing like this is not because this is necessarily my style of dress. I wouldn't necessarily just go out like this. I'd add a blazer or a blouse or a sweater or something to it to give it a layered look. But this piece as a denim bustier, okay, it's perfect because it gives you that edge so you don't look boring. It is edgy and it's practical. Put your cell phone and your money right next to your heart. Like, there's nothing better than it. I loved it and I thought that is the best idea. So I've been cutting up all my 99-cent jeans and turning them into all sorts of things. I've turned them into belts. I've turned them into headbands. I'm just showing you this one because I want to keep it short. But there's all sorts of things you can do. So word to the wise, if you are living on a budget, shopping on a budget, dressing on a budget, and right now it's winter, it's New Year's Day 2018, January 1st, Happy New Year, by the way. If you find some old pieces that are still in pretty good condition, but maybe you're just tired of wearing them as jeans, or you're tired of wearing that skirt as a skirt, repurpose it, refashion it, you know. And sometimes we can't always blame the clothes, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes it's not the jeans that don't work right, it's that our bodies don't fit in the jeans the way they did when you bought them. Yes, I've been there too. That's why I have some patchwork skirts and some A-line skirts with the fabric added in. I've got all that stuff. So when you gain weight and you lose weight, life goes pear-shaped, whatever, there's always an opportunity to be creative. That's the point. And wearable art, in that genre, in that context, you see a lot of people getting very creative. Just Google the words wearable art and go to images and you see some of the stuff from the runway to street style. You know, now being that I mentioned earlier, it's winter, it's January, and where I live in Cleveland, Ohio, yes, it's probably going to be rough weather and rough roads for months to come. Maybe not every day, but off and on. So this is the perfect time. If you're living in weather conditions like mine, snowy, blizzard-like, and icy roads and whatnot, maybe you don't want to go out. Maybe you want to stay in and turn those jeans into belts, or turn them into dresses, or turn them into, like I did, the denim bustier. Maybe that's what you want to do. But think about it. Think about it. To me, whether you're doing earrings or you're taking fabric and turning it into a skirt, a head wrap, a shirt, a dress, play with the idea. You know, this is the time for indoor activities, at least where I'm from. You're not stepping out and weathering those elements every day. But you don't want to sit in and be bored either. And sometimes TV and internet is just not enough. Minus YouTube. YouTube is perfect. I know I never had a problem with YouTube because you learn so much, right? That's why I'm here. But I think that this is the time for you to go through your closet, find some pieces that need a little extra love and need an upgrade, and just start upgrading them. And whether you add something to the piece or take something away, you're creating a whole new piece. And I don't think there's any greater accomplishment than being able to put your mind, heart, and hands to something and making it better. There's something about being effective in something or accomplished in something. And even as something as simple as upcycling or repurposing one piece of clothing, the sense of accomplishment is just, you can't name it, you can't number it, you can't measure it. It's just so great. One more thing I want to show you about altering and upcycling pieces. Now, I got this book I want to show you. This book is called Altered Shoes. And again, it's Derivative arts, because you're taking ready-made shoes that are already whole, you didn't make them from scratch, okay, but they're a little bit plain, or maybe you have shoes that are old and kind of worn in places and you don't want to wear them as is. You want to zhuzh them up a little bit, fix the little cracks, but then also put something over it and around it to give it an extra pop, right? I'm going to show you what they did. They took some plain brown, very conservative loafers, and I'll show you the before and then the after. Let me show you what they did. Plain brown loafers. Plain brown loafers. You've seen them everywhere. Payless, Designer Shoe Warehouse, maybe even Gabriel Brothers. But what they did was, let me see, they took maybe some fabric, some paper mache, some kind of adhesive. I don't know if it was a glue gun or some other kind of paint on or rub on adhesive. Not double-sided tape, I don't think, because it's not sticky enough for the wear and tear that your feet put on shoes. But they took that and then they put a quote on here. I'm going to show you. I'm not sure if the lighting is good, but I'll show you what they did with it. They took this and just added fabric and basically reupholstered the shoe. It was fantastic. I love what they did with this. Okay? And I'm reading it here. Metallic paint, cotton print fabric, decorative papers. I thought it was paper mache. Maybe that's the same thing. A rubber stamp of a word. You can take graphic art. You can take images. You can take stamps and stickers and do all sorts of stuff with the shoes you already have. So going out to buy something that may or may not fit, may or may not be in your budget, when you can look through your own closet and reshop and pick out the things that you want to upcycle, add something to, or take something away. To me, it's the perfect wintertime activity, right? Okay, white craft glue. Okay, they use glue, a paintbrush, ink pad for the stamp, and that's pretty much it. You can go to the craft store and find tools to upcycle all your clothes, and by spring, you will have improved your wardrobe by about 10-15%, and you would have spent the winter not being bored. Let me show you these again. These are the coolest things. I'll zoom in with the book and I'll show you. I'm not sure if the lighting is as good as it is in here, but oh my gosh, I love these shoes. These shoes were actually on the cover of the book, and that's why I bought it. I said, I have to know how they did that. I have to know. And then I lined up all my shoes according to the one who is unloved the most, and the one that's the most unloved. I'm going to find some fabric. I'm scouting for fabric in different places, Walmart, Joann Fabrics, looking for pieces where I can reupholster these shoes and make them or re-personalize them. I personalized them before, but I want to re-personalize them and upcycle them so that I can wear them again, but differently. And I mean, your wardrobe will evolve so much by incorporating wearable art, whether you buy it from somebody else or you make it yourself. I mean, to me, there's just nothing greater, right? I want to end with this quote, the same quote that was on the shoe. I don't know if you saw it, but I'm going to read it to you because it really does, it draws together everything I've said about wearable art, derivative art, putting your mind, heart, and hands to fashioning something that you will live in. Your clothes and your shoes and your accessories, you live in those things. You express yourself through those things. So this is the quote, and it's from Picasso. It says, "Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life." Let me say it again. Art washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. You get a jolt of energy. You feel more captivated. It ignites your imagination. Art is a source of inspiration. And if you're wearing art, or if you're collecting wearable art and putting it on, imagine how many people you're going to inspire just by walking around in what you wear. They may never try to look like you. Like, I get compliments from all walks of life about how I wrap my head and the accessories that I use, and I will go out just like this, maybe throw on a blazer or a little light sweater or whatever, but I will go out like this, and people will see that and get inspired. Maybe not to look like me, but they'll get inspired to go, maybe they want to use these same colors in their den or in their basement, or they want to redo their bathroom and they like the color palette or whatever. I mean, let's exchange that imagination and that inspiration, that you can always be an inspiration to somebody else, but first you got to be one to yourself. Take inspiration from, I look at Google Images a lot for certain color patterns. Home Depot is fascinating. Of course, my favorite section is the paint section because I get to take away all the color cards and, and play matchmaker with my color palette. And then I will go out and find fabrics and find scarves and find all sorts of things that link up or match up closely to that color palette that I found at Home Depot and create a whole new outfit. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So allow art, wearable art, derivative art, arts and crafts, whatever you call it. Allow art to wash away from your soul the dust of everyday life. And in my case, living in Cleveland in the winter, the snow and the ice and the sleet too, I'm going to let it wash away everything. So I have brought my hypothesis to the cafe. Will you bring yours? Please respond either by comments below or in a response video. I look forward to hearing your thoughts about art, wearable art, and maybe show me some of the pieces that you've made. Give me some inspiration to get through this winter, okay, and make something really nice for spring and summer. Have a blessed day, New Year's Day, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. And hey, let's talk about it.